What's up? What's up? Renz here, Vince there. This is ChatCOMBAT coming at you.
Hi guys, what's up? Welcome to the first episode of Combat Chat. I'm here with
Numero
Renz.
uno. So yeah, we're very excited. Debut our pilot. Hopefully we fly very well. Nothing wrong with crashing and burning, but we're here to soar and make it look good.
And hopefully talk about some things that you guys think it's interesting about MMA, combat, self-defense,
Oh, absolutely.
and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I was looking at some stuff online. I was looking at some stuff from the past. I tell you what, man, combat sports and entertainment has come a long way.
It's
Like,
it has come a long way.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I used to watch WWE when I was a kid, but then one time I was watching UFC by accident. I was like, where are the chairs? Where are the tables? And I was like blown away about how interesting it was to see that split difference. And after I saw Ultimate Fighter 1, I was like hooked. But while I was doing that, when I was doing that, I guess you can call it down the rabbit hole for that, I kind of stumbled across a few more nostalgic things. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but like celebrity boxing events.
It's horrible.
Oh, they're
In
so
my
bad.
opinion.
Like before YouTube.
Luckily, we
YouTubers
share
were
the same opinion on that.
No, I agree, man. Like you can never truly appreciate true technique until you see people that think, "Oh yeah, I can throw on headgear and boxing gloves. I can do some boxing."
No. But you know what the problem? I don't have a problem with celebrity boxing in the sense of if it's entertainment. Some people like to watch it. Some people like. I mean, it brings money and it brings more eyes to the sport.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion, the biggest problem with it is that real athletes they are struggling to make it to the top and earn a living. They are. They don't get the same attention as these celebrities.
Oh, bingo, man. Right on the dot with that. But I will be honest, it was entertaining to watch one particular fight or boxing event. It was, you know who Vanilla Ice is?
Yeah, I know.
Stop, collaborate, and listen. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
But anyway, there's also this other guy, Todd Bridges. He's from this show, Different Strokes. You know, What You Talking About, Willis? I saw that boxing match, and I was like, wow.
It wasn't that bad. It was like an amateur fight.
Oh, yeah. Like, I gotta hand it to Todd Bridges. He definitely handled it. That was a good performance on his end. If only Vanilla Ice could keep up.
You know, but to be completely honest, if you see the Logan Paul versus KSI fight,
Jesus, I did see that one.
Logan Paul wasn't that bad at boxing. I mean, he didn't have the stamina. He could have done better, but for his first, it's like an amateur boxing match. It's a way smaller crowd. It was like a professional boxing match. The amount of people that were
indeed.
So to have that amount of stress in your first boxing match, I mean, he didn't do that bad in my opinion. I mean, I don't like the action that he did on YouTube. I don't like the guy at all, in my opinion. But
hey, 100% with you on that one.
I have to be honest. If he started out boxing sooner, when he was younger, he could have become a boxer. I mean, he is an athlete. He can wrestle for sure too.
Actually, yeah, I did see that video of him and Paulo Costa. That was actually pretty interesting.
He's a great scrambler.
He didn't fare well with the boxing with Paulo Costa. He got himself like lit up.
Yeah.
But he handled himself pretty well for the size. Like I don't know how big the size difference is between those two, but
it's not
I think
too big,
they're
but
pretty
it's like
similar.
15 pounds, I think.
Probably
20, maybe.
I mean, this is assuming that Paulo Costa was probably walking around like at a competition weight. He could have been a little bit heavier than what he really walks around like when he's weighing in. But Paulo Costa is like a big middleweight. Jesus God.
He's a big middleweight.
Like, I feel bad for the poor person that's like a Johnny Hendricks fight. I felt bad for Johnny Hendricks. Like, nope. There's nothing you could do against this guy.
I wouldn't want to be locked in a cage with that guy. Nope.
Not without years of training and mental preparation. Like, okay, if he gets me here, I'm going to go there.
Since we're talking about
me like this.
Yeah, but since we're talking about scary guys, what do you think of Mike Tyson coming back to boxing for a charity event?
Oh, he's doing a charity event. Okay, that makes way more sense.
Event.
Who's he taking on?
That one guy who is also retired, a boxer. He's also in his 50s. He was on Joe Rogan's show about a year ago. They were already talking about
Okay,
it.
I think I know what you're talking about. I can't draw the name from memory. I could look it up in a moment.
My
But I think
mind
that's
sucks from boxing names. I'm sorry. I only know Muhammad
no,
Ali,
not a problem.
Triple G, Mike Tyson, of course. But MMA is where my head is at when
No, I
remembering
feel
names.
that, man. Absolutely. I tell you what, I think that's really spectacular, Mike Tyson. It's good to see him getting back into it. Like, I know he had a period of time where after his retirement, he was like, I don't even want to think about boxing. I don't even want to touch the bag. I don't want to do this or that or anything.
But to be completely honest, I mean, if you're a guy like that, that's scary. Even most professional fighters are scared of that guy. And I mean, he always says that he is hungry for fighting. If he starts training again and his heart starts pumping again, then he wants to go in there. And he knows that wasn't what he wanted for a while.
No, I hear that, man. Like, he fell on some hard times. I actually blame that a lot on, like, one second. Just turned something off in the background. Forgot that was even on. Had the headphones on. Hopefully that wasn't really heard too much.
Oh, you could hear it, but it wasn't too bad.
That's good news. Just a little background noise. Hopefully no one catches on what it was. It was just YouTube.
Yeah, I know.
Which will hopefully be where we go next. But, like Mike Tyson, he fell on some pretty interesting hard times. Like, after his manager trainer, he passed away. I think that was kind of like the beginning of his like true downfall. Yeah, he had some public issues with like going to jail or prison, but he bounced back really well from that. But after his trainer died, he kind of fell onto like some unsteady grounds, in my opinion. But seeing him come back,
totally on board with you on that one.
But like since seeing him come back, man, like I'm pretty amped up for it. I was a little skeptical at first if he was going into like the actual ring to like fight for championships.
No,
but for charity.
I'm not saying that he couldn't be. I think he could beat the top 10 guys, in boxing. I think he could at least beat the 10th guy, but it wouldn't be healthy for his body anymore. I mean, it's heavyweight what we're talking about, so it's like you get hit so hard in the head. I mean, he's over 50 now, so.
No, I hear that for sure, man. Like a lot of people like to use the analogy, the body's a temple. The temple kind of starts deteriorating for athletes and like combat athletes especially. I like to think of it as there's like two kind of cars that come to mind for us, a hobby site. Like there's the sports cars, and then there's like the big trucks that can haul weight really well. Do you want to train like a sports car, or do you want to train like a heavy duty car? Yeah.
Which is you only have one vehicle. You only have one vehicle in this life. You gotta be healthy with it. I mean, and even if you're young. I mean, I'm only 20, but my knee also. I have a knee issue, and it's like I gave it some rest, but I can still feel it. So I'm gonna check it out, let it checking out again. But I mean,
it's not that cool.
Yeah, but I mean, it's same with your bicep tear. How's that doing?
Oh, it's doing very well. I just did some bicep curls, palm down, palm up, and then kind of like, I guess you call it like, where you call that curl? Like hammer curl, I guess?
Yeah, it's a hammer curl.
Yeah, I do a lot of like bicep activities now. I've actually been getting into a lot of like just free weight exercises. It's really nice.
I like free weights way better for fighting.
Oh, absolutely. Plus,
because you develop those those muscles that keep you stable. You develop them way more. So when you're actually in the ring, you just have that little advantage when you go for a double leg or something like that.
Oh, 100%, man. Like coordination is a very big deal.
Yeah.
It's a very big deal in everything, to be honest. You don't have like a proper balance and calibration and coordination for walking, you'll be falling down all the time.
Yeah, you're right.
And then if you amplify that by a very specific like southpaw or orthodox stance in the ring or the mat or in the cage, you'll be falling down way more often. Like a lot of fighters, they have really good balance.
Yeah, really good. Especially guys like Wonderboy or someone I wanted to talk about, Shirker Sean O'Malley.
Oh, man.
What do you think of him?
I feel like he's getting kind of gimmicky now. I feel like he was I was really looking at him like, man, he's doing good. But then he's like got the hair thing going and the face tattoos. I'm like, God, don't do this to yourself, man. Don't
I
become.
like fighters to look like fighters. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it,
No,
but
I agree with you, man. I
I
agree with
mean,
you.
these are supposed to be the toughest guys in the world, especially in the UFC, and it's a little bit of you're looking
Yeah,
like a
like
clown.
it's very gimmicky in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like some fighters rely on image rather than talent. Like, I think of a few of them off the top of the head. Like Mike Perry, he's a good
yeah.
example. He's very much an image person, in my opinion. Like, yeah, he's got some stand-up talent in the ring. Don't get me
Kobe,
wrong,
for example.
but I don't feel like he really portrays himself in a manner that people talk about his
Yeah,
fighting as much as they talk about his image.
but
And I feel like if Sugar Sean O'Malley keeps the way he's going, people are going to recognize him more for his antics outside of the octagon. Like, oh
yeah,
man, do you hear about Sugar Sean O'Malley? Oh, about his knockout? It's like, no, about his hair, about his face tattoo,
yeah.
about
It's the same with
420.
McGregor. It's the same with McGregor. I mean, he also got big because he because the trash talking, the things that he did outside of the ring, that made him famous. That made him big. Of course, people
Oh yeah,
like to watch him fight, especially because he's a stand-up fighter. Most casual fans also like that more than the grappling department. But
very true.
you know, it's like guys like that get popular really, really fast. But the most true fans don't like those guys.
No, I agree with that, man. Like, I'm actually guilty. I used to be one of those casual fans that were like, why are they on the ground? This is bullshit. Stand them up. They need to start throwing punches,
Yeah,
throwing kicks. But the further you go into it, you realize there's levels to the game. Like, it's almost like Jenga. No one wants to play the game Jenga by just having like the first three moves and it just topples. Like, yes, I win. It's like you want to get further and further along and see how much more crazy you can get.
yeah, I
And
totally
the
agree.
element of like in the addition of grappling, the clench, like you can't really clench in boxing. Like
No,
as
but
soon as you clench for more than like 4 or 5 seconds, they break it up and it's like, don't do that again. You'll get penalized a point or something like that.
but to be honest, people that don't like the grappling, I mean, go watch Glory kickboxing. Rico Verhoeven.
Yeah.
That's a Dutch guy. He's the heavyweight champion in Glory, but then they really have great fights. I mean, if you like it, it's like boxing with kicks. I mean, if you like that go watch those fights if you like them. But in MMA, I mean, grappling is, in my opinion, the most important part of MMA. If you
Oh
don't
yeah,
know how to
absolutely.
grapple, you're going to be taken down, submitted, or worse, getting ground and pounded.
No, 100% agree. And that's been like proven from UFC 1 to almost like UFC, I want to say 13, like when people started integrating little bits of martial arts. Like, I gotta say, like maybe Frank Shamrock is probably like the best example of the original mixed martial artist. Like he included striking, the clinch, grappling,
I don't
wrestling.
I
He
don't
included a lot of
disagree.
aspects.
I don't disagree. I think I don't disagree. I think you're right in that. But always, Bruce Lee. I don't want. He's not the god that people made him to be. But he, in my mind, he also was one of the original mixed martial artists because he
Oh,
also
absolutely. He was
used
the
different.
architect.
Yeah, I mean, he even trained with uh,
Is
the famous judo guy,
oh
the old
judo Gene
guy.
LaBelle. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Gene LaBelle, that's the guy. He also trained with him because he thought, yeah, he thought, if you try to grapple with me, I'm just gonna kick the shit out of you. I'm just gonna box your face off. But then he got thrown up on the ground, and then he implemented judo in what was later gonna be known as Jeet Kune Do.
No, absolutely, man. I agree with that. Like, I don't know if I'd ever call Bruce Lee like the Godfather of MMA, but I would definitely call him the architect.
Yeah,
He
totally
definitely
agree.
put pieces together that was like non like Jeet Kune Do is like the refinement of martial arts. Is taking away the pieces that don't work and using the pieces that do
Yeah,
work.
but
Like if
that's also a problem because some guys they overuse that because do you know Shane Faison from Fight Tips?
yes. I
Yeah,
don't watch him too often, but I know what
no,
you're
but
talking about.
he's a famous YouTuber, and but when he always tells the story when he switched from Taekwondo to Muay Thai, they tried to get rid of his snap kicks, but later on, when he got to spar with Muay Thai guys, they were surprised by his snap kicks, especially the head kicks. They are faster when it has a snap to it than the regular roundhouse kick to the head from Muay Thai.
Oh yeah, I like
And
snap kicks myself.
those things, I always say, you need to have boxing footwork, takedowns and takedown defense from wrestling, submission from jiu-jitsu, you know, and Muay Thai skills for blocking leg kicks, you know, and if you want to, you can use those kicks if for your own. But you know, the kicking
absolutely.
defense from Muay Thai, and after you have those 4 base martial arts, in my opinion, you can throw in some things like Taekwondo, karate footwork, karate kicks, you know, spinning kicks, maybe reverse punches, spinning back fist. But you know, in my mind, you
100%.
always need those base martial arts. Otherwise, you won't make it in MMA.
Oh, 100%, man. Like you were saying, like it's a lot of levels. Like
Yes.
before you learn how to do the fancy stuff, you gotta learn how to do the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I don't want to use like a lot of cooking analogies. I used to do cooking kind of like as a profession. I used to be a chef in a restaurant. Not a chef, but I was like one of the people in the background, like, here's the potatoes for your meat. But like you know, before you do like a very big fancy recipe that you expect to see on like a Gordon Ramsay menu, you kind of start with like very basic things and work your way up. You know, like you learn how to make meat and potatoes before you learn how to make au gratin and filet mignon.
I get what you're saying, indeed. But that's the same with if some people say you can't use karate in MMA. Some people say, yeah, karate is the only thing you need for fighting. But if you're really honest, if you look at a guy like Wonderboy, he is a prime example of karate that can be worked. You know that you can use karate in MMA and in real fighting. But the thing is, he also knows everything else. He also knows his takedown defense. He wrestles all day. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to use that fancy footwork that he's using because he would be. He
Oh,
would
absolutely.
if he doesn't know takedown defense. That's also the problem with most traditional martial artists. They don't know takedown defense.
Oh, 100%, man. Like there are two types of like there are a few kinds of strikers out there, and then there's like kind of two categories of strikers in mixed martial arts. There's like those that are really comfortable with the ground that they don't have to worry about getting taken down, and then there's kind of like those strikers that they're like, okay, I don't want to get taken down. I'm going to just fight very tentatively.
Yeah, but the problem with that is if you're that worried about the takedown, you're not going to be able to strike very well because
Oh, absolutely.
and that's why a guy like Donald Cerrone always just charges forward. You know, he's a slow starter, but he will pressure fight you in the later rounds because he's not afraid to be taken down. His guard is amazing.
Oh man,
He
he's proved it
submitted
time
Mike
and time
Perry.
again.
What did you say? Sorry.
Oh yeah, he's proven that like a lot of times. Like
Yeah.
Donald Cerrone's like phenomenal on the ground. Like he's no Hoist Gracie, but he's no slouch either.
No, and his takedowns also. I like his takedowns because they're more like, you know, body lock takedowns. He doesn't shoot in for the double
Mm-hmm.
leg very often, but it's like he mixes it very well with his striking. But I don't like that he has a traditional Muay Thai stance in which you don't use that much head movement, and that's why I like the Dutch style a little bit better in terms of head movement because that you learn head movement in the Dutch style of kickboxing. But I like Muay Thai better because you know you can use elbows and the clinch.
100%. I actually feel that head movement is like very often underutilized at the beginning stage. I'm starting to feel like head movement is one of those things that you should start learning a little bit more sooner than later. Because if you learn how to, throw punches and block, you're not really like worrying about the problem about knowing people that can feint and get past your block and hit your heads. Like I wasn't very big on head movement myself, and then I was sparring with someone that's really, really proficient in boxing. He's a really good boxer. Holy shit! Like his jab cross is like always nailing me in the freaking head. I'm like, okay, what do I got to do now?
I know the feeling. I once got in one of my before the corona and everything happened. I sparred with a really good kickboxer, and that guy threw a head kick. I was like, "Oh shit!" because I didn't see it coming at all. It nailed me, and I was on the ground.
Just like right over the shoulders. Like where'd that come?
It was in my neck. It was like, you know, he threw it.
That
It
hurts.
was with his front leg too. You know, he threw a jab. He is a southpaw. He threw a jab, and I, you know, tried to parry that jab, but then he came right over the top with it.
I really like using that one myself, man.
Yeah,
It's actually funny.
I like to use it with a cross. You know, throw a cross, but it doesn't mean anything, and then just grab the back of the head and pull them into your head kick.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. I actually like really using the jab and then leading that out with that lead kick, like a lead round kick. That's usually pretty
Oh,
nice.
that's a nice combination too. So
Like
when you retract the jab, you throw a head kick.
yeah, like I try and bait them almost. Like I'll try and throw the jab constantly. I usually stay on southpaw myself, so I'll just keep throwing the jab, and I'll just wait for their lead hand to kind of react to it. And when that happens, their hand's busy. They can't block that kick as easily. But that doesn't work on my friend who kept boxing me. Like I kept throwing the jab, he'd throw like 3 punches back. I'm like, Jesus. So I got talking to him afterward. I'm like, how do you keep hitting me in the head, man? He's like, dude, you're like very stationary with your head. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man, your head is here. You should be doing this. I'm like, okay, little movements to get my head off the course of the punch. Okay, I dig that. He
Especially
still
while
gets me all the
punching, in my
time.
opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'm sure you remember Bradley Scott from
Yeah,
Fight Perfect. Like,
great
he
guy.
did a video. Like, he was doing a video recently, and I think Icy Mike did something about this as well. Like, when you're throwing the punch, you just kind of like slightly tilt your head off instead of staying right on the line.
Yeah, it's
So when you're
like
doing
if you
that,
throw a punch, I always say some people throw it like this, but like
yeah, I
this,
used to do
and
it that way.
it's so open. Always behind the shoulder. I'm making a
Yeah,
video on that soon. Always behind, but always tuck your head a little bit,
yeah, it's a
especially in
very good
MMA
idea.
because you can slip punches way easier with those small gloves.
Yeah, I've been starting to do that myself. Like, I don't try and like go totally clenched up. I just try and like wait for the right moment. As soon as it just starts going out, then I just start
Yeah,
tilting into it a
that's
bit.
the best way indeed, in my opinion, because otherwise you're burning your shoulders out if you're constantly like that.
Guess
You
you could
know,
call that kind of like a Jeet Kune Do tactic. I'm shaving off the things that I thought were useful, and now I'm refining them, making
yeah.
them smoother.
You can always do that with techniques that you're not good at. You say, no, they don't work for me. I can just skip them. But
Exactly.
Cain Velasquez, in my opinion, he has the best head movement for MMA because from all the fighters that I've seen, because he does never duck punches. He always slips them. He's like a little bit like Mike Tyson, but he doesn't roll with punches as well. Because if you have your head too low in MMA, you will get head kicked,
No,
especially against a guy
100%.
like Cerrone.
Yeah,
He
like
times those slips.
I like Cain Velasquez. I really hope he makes a comeback to MMA soon.
I,
Like
I,
I heard that he kind of like left WWE because of a contract thing.
yeah, that was
So
it.
hopefully that opens up an avenue for like I got my fingers crossed that he either does like Bellator or like one of the Japanese promotions. I think he would do really well over there.
Yeah,
Like if he comes back to UFC, there's
maybe
gonna be like a stacked division.
because he's the prime example of somebody that just torn his own body apart. Because those gym wars, that hard sparring. I mean, if you watch the
Yeah,
Francis fight, his knee was already blown out before he got hit. He put some
that
weight
hurt
on
my
it,
knee,
and
man.
that unless he gets some real treatment for it, like stem cell therapy, I don't think he will do well in MMA anymore against people that are at his level because his body just doesn't work anymore.
Nah, it is a damn shame. He's gone through a lot of like injuries, like between his neck, his back, and his knee. Like man, it is like really upsetting because he was a really good heavyweight fighter in the UFC. Like in general, I would consider him like definitely one of the top 5 heavyweights that performed between the years of 2011
Yeah,
and 2017. He definitely put people down.
yeah, he is one of my favorite heavyweights fighters ever. Him, Stipe, yeah, Francis is growing on me. He is
Yeah,
growing on me, but he's still not that though. Yeah, he's a knockout artist, and I appreciate that. But his fights aren't that interesting for me personally. But some people just like it, those knockouts and things like
no,
that. But
I can kind of feel that. Francis has that like enigma to him, where it's like it's a very very high percent chance that he's going to win the fight via knockout, and it's going to be within like almost a minute of that first round. It feels like.
yeah,
So it's kind of hard to like. It's kind of like the enigma that Mike Tyson had. People liked
yeah,
Mike Tyson, and they're like, which round is it going to be? Which minute is it going to be that he's going to knock someone out?
yeah.
And so far, Francis Ngannou, he's really been doing it. Like, what was the last 3 fights he had? It was Rosenstruck, Alistair Overeem,
And It was like Davis.
I don't want to count Lewis. I don't want to count Lewis. Oh wait, it was Velasquez. He had Velasquez after Lewis.
But Velasquez is in his prime, but just shoot for the double leg over and over again.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, if you saw what he did to Brock Lesnar, and Cain Velasquez is, in my opinion, a better wrestler than Stipe. And Stipe is already a great wrestler, but Francis wouldn't have won, in my opinion, if it was in his prime. But his body was just torn out. People don't realize how much of a difference it makes when you get older. You get your vision starts to wear down. It's the same with Cowboy. I mean, in his prime, he would have won some of the fights that he lost now against Masvidal, for example. Masvidal is a young fighter. He's a really good fighter, and to put him against an older guy like Cerrone, who already had those wars. He really had wars fights. He didn't have. In my opinion, Conor McGregor, for example, he had easy fights in the way that he won. He bullies people around. Nate Diaz was the first guy that gave him something back, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I agree with that, man. On top of that,
Donald Cerrone already had those, those really tough fights.
Yeah, when Cerrone was coming up, he was coming up in a Shark Tank. Like, he had a lot of worthy adversaries. When Conor McGregor was coming up, I'm not going to shit on Conor McGregor too much, but when he got to the UFC, he was taking on smaller opponents. He had some fair share of lightweight fights during his pre-UFC career, but he came in as a featherweight, and he was a very big featherweight. He was able to muscle people around.
I don't shit on the guy because he is an amazing fighter. Don't get me wrong, but I get what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Yeah, as soon as he started bumping up the intensity of his competition, in my opinion, Chad Mendes was the first time we got to see what happens to Conor McGregor if he gets taken down in whale on.
But on the other hand,
he came back from that one.
He did fought with a third ACL, if I remember correctly. So I mean, if your knee isn't working correctly, you can't stop the takedowns as well as if it is.
That is true. But on the other hand, if his ACL was working, would he still have gotten taken down by Chad Mendes?
He would still have gotten taken down. I mean, Chad Mendes is a great wrestler. I mean, come on. That's why I already knew that how the Khabib fight was going down. I mean, if he...
Oh, man, I think we all do that one.
Yeah. Talking about Khabib, how do you think Justin is going to fight against Khabib? What do you think is going to be his game plan?
I really hope that he keeps refining his tactics. I believe he's at Elevation Fight Team now, so that's definitely going to be a major boost to his striking offense and his striking defense. That team really does well with refining and really making everything work out for strikers. Yeah. In regards to his wrestling against Khabib, I think that I don't think they're anywhere close to equal. They got two totally different styles of wrestling, in my opinion.
Yeah. He can wrestle, though.
He can wrestle, he can.
Sure. He's one of the best wrestlers Khabib has faced so far.
Oh, indeed. I feel Khabib is more wrestling-oriented. He doesn't want to strike. He just wants to use striking as a means to, get into the takedown, chain together, get to the ground. Though. Oh, 100% he can.
So many people said that he can't strike for some reason. But, I mean, I saw the fight against Edson Barboza, and he landed some beautiful uppercuts, but his striking is super wild because he wants to pressure you against the cage, and then he can take you down. If you're against the cage, he's going to take you down because he's going to use judo, sambo, standard wrestling. He's going to use everything mixed with his strength. I mean, come on, he's a scary dude.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's almost the opposite of Damian Maia. Damian Maia, when he took on Nate Marquardt, he was using a very boxing-heavy style against someone that's more prepped for striking. Had Damian Maia really engaged for the takedowns more than the entire striking offense, I'm pretty sure Damian Maia would have walked away with the W that time, but he got knocked out cold on his feet.
Yeah, totally.
But Khabib, he's a scale of 1 to 10 in the range of striking. I would give him probably a 5. He knows how to throw punches. He knows how to throw kicks and knees and elbows. But is that his bread and butter? No.
No.
Oh, hell no. If anything, that's kind of his saltine and that's his cheese and crackers. It's yeah, I got cheese and crackers. I'm going to enjoy this. And then it's the grapple and the takedown? Yeah.
But something
that right
I
there
don't
is my
get,
prime thing.
If I were a head coach, all the head coach, everyone that I hear speaking about this, they say, "Oh yeah, if he tries to take us down, we will do this, we will do that." I think don't get to that position in the first place. If you see
Exactly.
if you look at all of his fights, Khabib can deal with pressure. You know, he can take a shot. We saw the Edson Barboza fight; he took that head kick like a champ. But I mean, if you pressure Khabib, he will move back, and if you keep doing that, I mean, the first takedown that Khabib tried on Conor was in the center of the ring, and Conor, you know, defended it pretty good. You know, the single leg that he shot in. But I mean, if you see Khabib doesn't have the best takedowns in the center of the octagon against
No,
the
he
cage.
definitely gets him more
That's
against
where
the
he
cage.
is dangerous. So if you have a guy like Justin, who can strike, you know, he has some real power in his hands, and he's really fast with combinations. I mean,
Oh yeah.
if you have a guy like that, keep the pressure on Khabib, keep his back against the cage, because that way you have all the space behind you to, you know, to deal with those takedowns, and then you can deal with those takedowns because you can use your footwork. But if you have
Yeah,
your back against the cage, Khabib is going to take you down.
100% agree. I actually feel like that's going to be the big difference between Khabib versus Gaethje. It's going to be Khabib's grappling versus Justin Gaethje's ability to kind of like keep it standing, scramble, but more importantly, that leg kick that Justin Gaethje is very good with. Like he has a hell of a leg kick.
But in my opinion, I wouldn't kick against Khabib. I only wouldn't use front kicks and things like that, because every kick that, you know, every round kick, I don't care how hard Khabib is going to be hit with that. He's going to be sticking to that leg. He's just going to grab that leg and run you to the cage.
I mean, possibly. I wouldn't dispute that. Like grapplers, they love grabbing legs. That's for sure, man.
It
Like
was one of
legs are kind of like a fish
GSP's
hook.
favorite takedowns. Grab the leg, you know, throw an overhand of a right straight, and then take them down.
100%. But I think what's going to be the big difference is with this fight is how hesitant is Justin Gaethje going to be to throw those leg kicks, because his hands have gotten much better. He has looked much more refined. His like jab is coming along. His cross is coming along. He's no longer throwing those big looping like round punches.
But
like
he
it's not
still
coming
has
from
he
like
still has
way
the power
around.
that he had at the beginning. He still
Oh yeah.
But you know that's
like,
the thing. That's the thing. I think if that's why I would have wanted to see Tony versus Khabib, because Tony has that style. He has that great scrambling style, so he can deal way better with a chain wrestler like Khabib. But he can also fight off it. He's the best guy in the UFC to fight off his back, in my opinion.
Rest in peace, Ferguson and Nurmagomedov. That would have been a really good fight.
But
I anticipate that would have been a
you never
decent
know.
fight.
If Justin loses from Khabib, I see Tony fighting Khabib anyway.
I mean, hopefully. I mean, I keep hearing about like Khabib being interested in retiring. Dude, there's been so many UFC stars nowadays that are like, oh yeah, I'm retiring. You can strip me from the championship, just take me off the rankings. It's like kind of like a bummer to hear that, because a lot of these fighters kind of like they're not peaking yet. They're kind of like at their prime. Like Henry Cejudo, he's starting
if Khabib wins from Justin, I think he wants to fight George St. Pierre for a super fight, and he wants to fight Tony Ferguson. I don't think McGregor gets a rematch if he wins from Justin. If he loses from Justin, I think then it's going to be Justin versus Tony Ferguson, or McGregor versus Justin, or Justin or a rematch between McGregor and Khabib.
I mean, this is all kind of assuming that Conor McGregor wants to drop back down to 155. It sounds like he's been like making an interest in like going up a weight class now.
I think like, he wants to beat the doubles. I think he wants to beat Masvidal for sure. I think that's the fight that he wants to have the baddest motherfucker belt, you know, the BMF belt. I think he wants one. And by the way, that's a really funny belt in my opinion. I love that fight between Diaz and Masvidal.
I'm waiting for that rematch. I would love to see that rematch more, to be honest.
And please, guys, let it be in Las Vegas. With some,
I don't know. I can go for the entire like Mortal Kombat theme playing at Fight Island.
Oh, that would be awesome. But I want to see McGregor versus Masvidal better than I want to see McGregor versus Usman, because versus Usman it's going to be the Tyron Woodley fight all over again.
It's going to be a wrestling clinic for sure, man. Like, I don't know how many strikes Kamaru Usman will throw standing, but I'm pretty sure he's going to throw a shit ton on the ground.
It's going to be double leg the movie.
It's basically going to be the rematch of Kamaru. I can speak. It's basically going to be the rematch of Khabib versus Conor McGregor at welterweight, but it's not going to be Khabib playing himself. It's going to be Usman playing Khabib.
Yep.
I can see it just happening exactly the same way.
But to be honest, I think how weird it sounds, I think McGregor has better cardio at 170 than he had at 145.
I'd agree with that. He was definitely not having to worry about cutting weight, that's for sure. He definitely looks much stronger now than he did before.
Yeah, because many people, they say against the fight against Nate Diaz, when he was at 170, but that was different. He just bulked up, but he didn't. Now he has muscle mass, but not too much body fat.
Indeed, but on top of that, like another factor to play into the entire first Diaz and Conor fight was Conor McGregor was anticipating fighting at lightweight anyway. He was planning on cutting down weight in the first place. I mean, fighting with another 15 pounds on you when you weren't expecting that can play a big difference.
Grab a backpack. I mean, stuff 50 pounds in it and go for a run. You'll be exhausted.
Oh, 100%. Hell, I just get exhausted carrying up groceries that are 30 pounds. I'm like, man, this is not the same as just walking up the stairs without anything.
But many people don't realize how much weight cutting disrupts your performance.
Oh, it's so big dehydrator, man.
Real big deal. Another thing that I wanted to talk about with you is what do you think about rules that make no sense in the UFC? Because another guy that I really like to watch fighting, I don't like his personality, John Jones.
Oh.
His only loss is because the 12-6 elbow.
Knew it! I knew it was going to be the 12-6 elbow.
I hate that rule so much. I mean, if I throw an elbow like this, I really can't develop the same power if I throw it like this, and this is legal.
You know what's weird about that rule? That rule is very interesting because it only seems to apply when you're on top.
It does.
Yeah. Have you seen Tony Ferguson? He's throwing
if you're on your back,
the bottom.
It's 9-3. It's 9-3. It's not 12-6 anymore. That.
I think I heard John McCarthy say the reason that rule exists is one of the commissioners went to a karate tournament and they saw someone doing karate, breaking bricks, and just doing that. I'm like, oh, come on. Ice doesn't fight back.
No, but on the other hand, it's really easy to break those things because what they do, the first one is way easier to break than the second and third one, and they leave a little bit of space with wooden sticks between the bricks. Mm-hmm. So if you hit the first one, that one is going to collapse, and the shock wave and the weight comes down on the second one, and then it's going to break in a row. It's just a trick.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I'd like to see someone break all those blocks of ice without those sticks. See how hard that is.
It's not gonna be. Try to break real concrete. Real thick concrete. It's not gonna.
I'll break concrete with a hammer, but not with my elbow.
Me
too. Give me a sledgehammer. I'll totally go with the game on that.
My elbow is gonna lose. My elbow is gonna lose. But I mean, that's a stupid rule. But I have some more pet peeves in the UFC. When I watch, do you watch one championship once in a while?
Yep, I do.
Once in a while, I watch it too. It's not, most fighters aren't as as famous as UFC or Bellator fighters, so I don't watch it too much. But I like the rule from knees on the ground. I like it because
it's a good rule.
If you shoot for a double leg, and both your knees are on the ground, you shouldn't be safe. I think if somebody can stop a double leg by kneeing you in the face, it is just another technique, and you can defend it. If somebody throws knees from side control, you can just throw your leg up, and try to get him off of you or just block it. It's not undefendable. Soccer kicks, they don't take any technique, and they are, in my opinion, too dangerous for combat sports because you kill somebody with it very easily. Because you're
100%.
You're not talking about regular human beings, but you're talking about high-level athletes. So they can develop so much power in soccer kicks, so they should stay illegal, in my opinion. But knees on the ground, I don't have a problem with that. I like them.
No, I agree with you. Like, I think it's kind of interesting that they don't allow. Like, I think the rule about knees to a ground opponent is you're not allowed to go to the head. But I think that's kind
Yeah,
of ridiculous because you can generate a lot more power by throwing knees from the clench to the head. You know, like you
yeah,
have someone
that's
in the really
legal.
tight clench, you just like drive your knee right up while pulling their head down. If someone's grounded and you're throwing knees, you're throwing it at an interesting angle where it's going
Yeah,
more horizontal or downward.
yeah, I
Like
totally
if you're
agree.
throwing your
But
knee totally up and pulling their head down,
yeah,
like
it's
dude,
two
that is way
forces
more
colliding.
dangerous.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
But like,
the thing is, it looks scary for some people, and that's why it's still illegal.
yeah, I mean, I'll kind of agree with you on the soccer kicks. Don't get me wrong. I kind of like soccer kicks for one reason. It makes you appreciate not being in a bad position. It makes you actually have to defend yourself a bit. Like, should you be
If you
allowed
spar
to?
with soccer kicks, your open guard will be so much better.
Oh yeah. Like, here's the one thing I don't like about soccer kicks: being on the receiving end of them. If
Same.
you're on, if you're on the receiving end of them, you totally appreciate. Okay, this is a bad position. I should not
Yeah.
be on my knees looking down. I should be on my back looking up. You
Yep.
gotta face your problems. Like if you need to have the referee tell you like multiple times, defend yourself, intelligently defend yourself. Why are you not defending yourself? That's the third kick.
Yeah.
Maybe you're doing something wrong.
But
But like,
I like up kicks though. I like to see an up kick knockout
oh
because
dude, those up kicks are slick.
you see the guys that grappled more that don't grapple in MMA class. They just have a striking class, kickboxing class, and
Uh-huh.
then they have a jiu-jitsu class or a wrestling class. If they fight, you see it in amateur MMA fights all the time. Those guys, they lean over their opponent if they are on the ground, and they get up kicked in the face because they aren't expecting it because they don't spar with up kicks. And I think it's the stupidest thing in my opinion.
It's
Because I
definitely a
think
good thing to train.
in jiu-jitsu you can lean over your opponent, you keep your hips away, try to pass their guard, but you can't do that in MMA. You got to lead with your hips.
No, absolutely, man. Like, you should never really lean over someone when you're standing over them in open guard. I've always trained to like be able to kind of sweep them from that position as well. Like the more forward they lean, the more ability you can kind of like tilt them over and kind of get a sweep off that.
Yeah, but
But you know, it's a
you also should never give your opponent both your legs. I mean, you can,
oh no,
if once you get a hold of their legs, as they're laying on their back, and you put your knee, you know what I mean. Like, you put one leg
hmm
forward to jam their legs up. They can't develop power anymore. You keep their legs
yeah,
there. You can ground and pound them all day, but as soon as you give them your other leg, they can sweep you. They can go for a heel hook, knee bar, anything.
oh absolutely, man.
That's what
I
happened
love
to
foot locks, man.
Brock Lesnar.
Ah, dude, I love that heel hook. Or no, was it a heel
Knee
hook?
bar.
I
It
think it
was
was
a
a
knee bar.
toe.
No, no, it was a knee
It
bar
wasn't.
from. It was a
It
knee bar
wasn't Ibar,
from.
wasn't it?
What was he called?
He was in a really bad position, but he was able to roll into it and get that leg lock. It was very
It
well
was a
played.
knee bar, I believe. I don't know.
One way or the
It
other,
was
Frank Mir
against.
definitely pulled that well off.
What was he called? What was the fighter called? It was like the heavyweight, very famous jiu-jitsu guy.
Wait, which one?
1 second. It was against Frank Mir.
Nice.
Frank Mir. He was on his back. Brock Lesnar stood over him, gave him both his legs, tried to throw some punches. Then Frank Mir just rolled for a knee bar and he submitted him.
It was well played, man. Like that's something that Brock Lesnar was not expecting whatsoever, man. He was
No.
expecting to just walk in, get his win, and then just walk out. But
Yeah.
he definitely walked into something more than he could anticipate.
But that's the
Definitely
thing.
kudos to him for
That's the
like
thing with
coming
MMA.
back
I
on
mean,
that.
you can be winning, throwing punches in somebody's guard, and all of a sudden you're getting triangled.
Oh yeah, if MMA has taught me anything, it's like Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen one.
Yeah.
You be getting your ass kicked for 5 out of 5 rounds, but that
Yeah.
last minute could be the turning point.
It totally can. That's why MMA is, in my opinion, the most exciting sport in the world. Because you see boxing
I agree
matches
with that.
and football matches, and they are just stalling for time, getting their points, and then they, at already if the match is halfway, not even halfway done, already who's going to win. And in MMA, it can be all of a sudden, like you said, in the last minute, somebody can get knocked out or submitted. You never know.
Oh, actually, another example of that would be Antonio Bigfoot Silva versus Alistair Overeem. Overeem was winning that fight. He was starting to coast in the third round. He got caught once. Then he just got standing TKO'd against the fence. That was brutal, man.
It was brutal.
Like I was like really upset with that one because I actually put some money down on that. But I was like, oh yeah, Overeem's got this. He's gonna just knock him out in the second round. He didn't get the knockout in the second round. I'm like, okay, he's gonna get the knockout in the third round. And then you just see the collapsing of Overeem. Like, no, don't stop the fight. They stopped the fight.
I have always my top three things that look the most painful for me in all of the MMA fights that I've seen. I mean, Anderson Silva's leg. That shit was really, really nasty to look at.
That was a bad one.
Pettis' body kick against Donald Cerrone.
That was pretty bad as well. Not as gruesome, but it was felt. I could feel that one.
Yeah, even I could feel. And the last fight from Paul Harris before he got banned from the UFC. He tore the guy's knee apart with a heel hook.
Oh, okay,
that's why he got banned, because he held on to heel hooks for too long.
Very unsportsmanlike.
Can you imagine being in that position? You're tapping, you're already giving up, and the guy is just tearing your leg apart.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you don't expect that after so many fights, and Usman Paul Harris being
the guy is just an asshole,
the professional he's supposed to be. You don't expect that he would understand what not only a tap is, but what a referee stoppage is. The referee was trying to pull him apart.
The guy's just crazy. When he is in combat mode, he's just going to think about, I'm going to kill my opponent with everything I got.
Yeah, it's a damn shame because I used to really like Paul Harris. Like, I'm a leg lock fan myself.
Me too.
And he was a leg lock master to me. And then I see him pulling this shit. I'm like, come on, man, you're making leg locks look really dangerous. If you know your counters and you know how to be nice with them, yeah, you can feel some torque, but if you just keep going and go past torque, you can feel their click and their rip. And it's really upsetting to see that shit.
But the thing with leg locks is you can spar. We spar at my gym. We spar them all the time, but we learn the technique of of position first. We know in which position we are, and we know how to control it before we don't have to yank it to get the tap, because we already have your leg, so you're not rolling out of it. If you roll, we just roll with you, and then we slowly but surely start to submit you. But it's not like it's the same with arm bars. You can just yank an arm bar, but if you have the control, you don't need to.
No, 100%. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I like to do the catch and release thing myself.
Yeah, the thing with arm bars is you can yank them before they break. But with heel hooks, if you yank them, somebody's knee is gonna pop.
It's very true, man. I actually had a classmate. I had a training buddy, classmate. He had his leg screwed up pretty badly from a leg lock. It wasn't me, I promise. Totally guilt-free on that one. I'm making like
Renz going at it again, injuring his training mates.
No. The only people I injure is with their humor. I constantly crack puns, and sometimes like, Renz, stop, we get it, you crack puns. But like one of my classmates, he had his leg caught in a heel hook, and he didn't spin quick enough, and my other friend, he was doing the heel hook to him.
Yeah.
And from across the room, I just hear this like pop. I'm like,
oh,
Jesus, get a room, you guys.
I had that with a guy that was doing, he wasn't training for competition. He was just training for fun. But he used to really uses a lot of steroids. Like a lot.
No bueno.
But the thing is, he popped his own knee because he was in a lockdown, half electric chair, we call it half electric chair, or an every Bravo lockdown. And he used so much strength to get out of it. He tried to yank his leg out of it. The guy on bottom that had him in the lockdown just felt his leg go pop. It was really, the whole gym turned around, just so you can imagine how it sounded. But the guy on bottom was like, I wasn't even trying so hard, I wasn't even putting that much pressure on his leg. But the guy on top, the one that had steroids, he just blew his own knee out because he put so much stress on his own knee. That's also a thing that steroids do to you. Your body.
I guess steroids didn't help that one.
Nope, but steroids, they make you so strong in some in some things that your own body can't handle it.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a cousin that
I
used to
don't
do
like steroids.
steroids. No, I 100%
Thank God for
agree.
USADA.
All natural, man.
Yeah, me too. Thank God for USADA.
Hashtag all natural. Don't do steroids, kids. Don't do steroids.
If you were a steroid, I'm sorry, Renz. I don't want to fat shame you or anything, but
No.
if you were
I'm not
steroids,
fat,
it wouldn't be a good commercial for steroids companies.
No. I don't. Here's how I feel. Like, if you have to do steroids to do something, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, but I don't
all you
care
need to do
about
is practice.
I don't care about TRT, or some steroids. If you do it for yourself, you like it. I mean, it's not healthy for you, but who am I to say that you can't do it? But if you do it in competition, and you're hurting other people.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I've actually always talked about this with my friends in regards to like testing in USADA and everything. I actually came to this conclusion. There should just be two separate like tiers of fighters. The ones that do it all naturally, and then the ones that are like on TRT, call them the Olympians and then the Titans.
Yeah.
I think that would totally level the playing field. Like,
but on the other hand, then maybe the competition isn't about who's more skillful, but it's who can deal with more steroids.
I mean, true, but at least you'd have like your legitimate competitors, and then you have like your free show fights. It's like
that's the same thing I have with weight cutting. I don't dislike weight cutting, but I kind of do because it's sometimes it's about who can cut more weight, without dying. Is the bigger guy is going to win. Sometimes.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same with Conor McGregor. Would he have been that successful if he didn't make it to that? He never would have been the double champ if he had to fight at 170 and 155.
No, he would not.
No.
I mean, maybe he would. I give it a small margin that he would have.
Who was the champion at the time?
When he was featherweight champion, I believe it was Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, I wouldn't see. I can't.
It was either Johnny Hendricks or Robbie Lawler. I don't
see McGregor beating Robbie Lawler. I'm sorry.
Maybe. I mean, if it stays strictly standing, I could probably see that happening. But I don't see McGregor like really handling the durability of Robbie Lawler too well.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like Nick and Nate Diaz on steroids. His durability.
Pretty much. But to be fair, I do have to give a little point away. I have to take a point away from Robbie Lawler. He did get like really badly knocked out against Tyron Woodley. The one time we see a flash knockout from T Wood in UFC, it's like bam, right there.
No, he had some knockdowns.
Oh, indeed. Like, I don't know. I've never really considered Tyron Woodley a very big like power puncher. Like, he definitely can lead himself into like these situations where he knocks people out. But to do that to Robbie Lawler in the first round, in the first
very explosive.